Good morning, Exploratory. This is probably one of your very first flipped lessons that you're going to have, but basically the beauty of a flipped lesson is you can pause this, go work on stuff, and then come back and see exactly what you need. You can rewind the video if you need to. So this is a total bonus for you as far as doing today's lesson. The first thing I want to start with is we have quite a few files already built up in your keyboarding folder, so I would like you to make a new folder within your keyboarding folder that is called week 1, and you can put all of those old files into it, and then now we'll start with new assignments. So I think we'll do that like every 5 assignments, because that would be 1 week's time. So in your keyboarding folder, if you just go find it wherever it is on your desktop or in your documents, go click on your keyboarding folder and then create a new file, and that would be a matter of clicking on the gear and then creating a new folder and call that folder week 1. And so now you have this new folder created and you're going to title it week 1. I already have a week 1 in mine, so I'm just going to call mine week 1 sample. And then what I'm going to do is take all those files that I had from anywhere else, and I'm going to dump all those files in. So to select one, I just click on it. To select every single one that's in there, I can hold the Shift key down and select the very first one, and then go to the very last one. And you see how it selects a group in my case? If I'm an icon person, what I would need to do is, again, click on the first one. Oops, let me deselect. Click on the first one, and then again click on the very last one that I want, and hold the Shift key down during the whole time. So if I click on the first one, and then I go hold Shift key down, it will select everything that's subsequently in line with it. Looks like it's working better for me if I do it this way. Anything that's in a line, it keeps track of. So then all I have to do is take all of those things I've selected and drag them into that folder, and then they dump into that folder. Easy peasy, right? So that's the first thing I would like you to do. So if you need to pause the video right now and go create a new folder, that would be a good thing to do. Make sure you do not put today's assignment. If you already downloaded it, don't put today's assignment in that though. And today's assignment is called TV ratings. So that is the first thing we are going to work on. So let's take a look at TV ratings as we go through this. I'll make this bigger so you can see as I go through it. So the first thing you're going to do is open a new Word document. Remember, the shortcut for that is Command N. You can also go to File and New, and you can also click on the icon. Second thing is you're going to set the font to Georgia with a font size of 12 point. Now if you have this standard toolbar, you can set Georgia up here. If you have the toolbox open, you can do it in the formatting palette of the toolbox under Font. Third one, to insert a header that includes your name. I don't care where in the header your name is. It can be left, center, or right. Again, to access your header, you're going to double click with your cursor being in the top part of your page so you see that icon, or you're going to go to View and Header and Footer. Then number 4 is a new one that we haven't talked about yet, and that's setting the page margins to 1 inch on all sides. I believe your default is 1 inch top and bottom, but your sides are 1.25 inches. So if you come to your toolbox, you will notice you have an area called Document Margins, and that's where you can change each one of them to 1 inch. And you will notice for this document, if you look at it with me, it is set at 1 inch. Another way you can access your page margins is to go to Format and Document, and then the dialog box that pops up defaults to Margins. Now yours might open to Layout because remember we were doing that vertical alignment stuff the other day, but if it does, you just click on the Margins selection there. So anyway, you want to make sure your page margins are set at 1 inch on all sides. That might be something, since this is a video, you might think you don't need to take notes. I would pause because knowing how to set page margins is something we will be using in the future, and it is something that I do think is on your quiz, so make sure you know where you can change page margins. And then we're going to start something new. We're going to set some tabs. So I'm going to open a new document and just go through what it is to set tabs. So first of all, what is a tab? Well, a tab stop is something that allows you to move through the document horizontally, but to move through the document to a selected point. And so there's a few different ways to select tabs. I'm going to hide my toolbox for a second. It's very important that you have your ruler open, and if you don't have your ruler, I think that is the default, but if you don't have your ruler, you want to go to View, and Ruler then is down in the selection, that very bottom selection. Make sure the checkbox is, or check mark is there by that word ruler, so your ruler is showing. There are a couple of different ways to access your tabs. One of them is if you go to the upper left corner of your document, you will see this little box. And you can select what style of tab you want. Now you'll notice if we see a left tab, we see this arrow with, or this line with an arrow pointing right. So that means everything's going to butt up against that left side. A center tab, everything is centered. Right tab, everything goes clear to the right side. A decimal tab becomes important if you're obviously using numbers or anything with a period in it. And then a bar tab is honestly one I don't use very often. But to access your entire tabs menu, you can go down and select tabs and it opens the dialog box. So that's one way you could set tabs, is to go there. The other way is to go to Format and obviously go down to where it says Tabs. And so you open this dialog box. Now I want to just show you what some different tabs do. Obviously we've seen tabs when we are in our headers. If you remember, there's a tab that's already preset at the left side, and then there's one set at like 3.5, I think, somewhere right in the middle for the center, and then there's one over here by that 6 mark for the right side tab. To set a tab, though, in this case I have left tab already set. I'm going to go select a different one so you can see what it does. I'm going to select center, and I'm going to go to like 0.5 on my ruler. And if I just use this, and I just click on my ruler, it will put a tab in. So now you notice there is a tab right there. So now I'm just going to turn on my formatting show hide so you can see it. So if I push tab, it instantly goes right to that spot. And then I could start typing, and whatever I start typing, I'm going to just type good morning, and everything will center around that. Now you're like, well, but that's at 0.5. Well, I'm going to just drag this one and move it from 0.5 clear over here to like 1.75. And you'll notice when I type, it's not going to naturally, because normally when we type everything moves over here to the right. But because this is centered, I'm going to type, and notice how it goes both directions. So my text goes to the left and to the right, so it stays centered around this. Hope your day is great. Notice now, instead of being centered over the word morning, it's centered over the word hope, because it wants an equal distance from both sides. So that's just to show you what one type of tab is. If I want to go set a right tab, and I'm going to put my right tab just over here like at 4.2 so you can see it. And if I set a right tab, now when I push tab, I have to push it twice because I had that one there already, and I have this one over here. So now I'm going to start typing, and now all of my text, instead of centering around it, is going to actually move back to the left. So let's start typing something like, hope you have no troubles with today's lesson. Oh, and then I ran out of room with this other tab stop, so that's why it started going there. So troubles, I'll just say today. And everything then moves back to the left. So those are the basics of how to set a very simple tab. Now, there might be times that you want to clear tabs out. So I'm going to go ahead and select my entire document. Remember, the shortcut for selecting your entire document is Command A. And I'm going to go to my Format menu and select Tabs. And again, I could also go over here and I could click Tabs, and it does the same thing. The first thing I want to do, though, is I want to clear all my tabs out. And then these are still faint because I haven't hit OK. If I hit OK, notice they're all gone. But if I come back into my tabs menu, I can tell it what kind of tab I want to set. Now, when does this dialog box become handy? Well, first of all, if I don't have something that is exact on the margin, this is something that becomes handy. So if I want to set a tab at 3.3, it's really hard to find 3.3 on the tabs menu because like here's 3.5, here's 3.25, 3.3 would be somewhere in here. So if I need something that is not exactly easy to find on the ruler or easy to mark on the ruler, I can do it here. If I need to set multiple tabs at one time though, this is probably the easiest way to do so. But again, remember you need to have your entire selection of text selected because otherwise it's just going to put the tabs on whatever line your cursor is on. So I have a 3.3 and then I want to set a tab at the center, and I'll just push set, not OK, because if I just push OK it just will do that one. And then I want to set a left tab at, let's do a left tab at 1.45, and I need to change that to left, and I'll tell it to set. And then I want to set another center tab, oh no, let's do a right tab. I want to do a right tab at 5.2. So I'm just going to push 5.2 and a right tab, and set, and I'm set. So now my very first tab, because I had pushed tab one time already with this, everything lines up here. This one I had pushed 2 tabs, so it is going to miss this first one for line 2, and notice it all lines up centered here. To show you this a little bit clearer, let's go down a few lines, and I'm going to push tab one time, and then I can type first stop, just for my first tab stop, and I'll push my tab again and I'll type second stop, and notice it's centering that, and then I'll push tab a third time and I'll type third stop, and notice that is setting a right tab. So if you draw an imaginary line down, it lines up with each of these, and that's the beauty of a tab stop, is you can set something that is going to align. So now back to your document that we've been talking about. You're going to set 3 tabs. You're going to set a tab at 0.75, at 3.25, and then at 5.25. Notice the first one is a left one, second one is a center one, third one is a right one. Because these do line up nicely, if you understand how rulers work, which hopefully from elementary school you learned how rulers work, you could just manually go click and change the tab each time. So set a left one first, then a center one, and then a right one. The only thing I need to remind you is you probably want to type in your notes right here, be sure to select all items before setting tabs. Because you notice on mine, I had the first time I showed you how a tab worked, I set the tab and then I started typing. Well, then it carries down with the rest of the document. But you are going to want to make sure everything covers the entire document, so make sure you select your document, select all as the shortcut is Command A, so make sure you select all of your items, especially if you start making any changes. So then number 6, you're going to start on the first line of the document, and you're going to type the text that follows. Now, it says center a line and bold the title. So to center a line, remember you're going to open your toolbox and go to alignments and spacing, and you're going to horizontally center this. Make sure this is bolded. Make sure this is all caps. And then you're going to hit enter 2 times. So after the title, you're going to hit enter 2 times. So Cruz, for you, that means enter, enter. For the rest of you, that's a double space. Separate each column using the tab key. So if you'll notice, if you look up at the ruler where this is at, this is not over at that 1-inch margin, is it? It's not aligned because the tab is at 0.75. Now this is a picture. Don't be thinking you're just going to copy and paste this into your document. You actually need to recreate this stuff. I just wanted to show you it's a picture. So what you're going to do is after you type TV show ratings, you're going to push tab and then type America's Got Talent. Push tab again, type NBC. Push tab again and then TVPG. So all of these are aligned with the left tab, all of these are aligned with the center tab, all of these are aligned with the right tab. So you're going to type all of this exactly as it's written. Make sure you spell things correctly because I will take off if it is spelled incorrectly. Number 7 says to save the document as TV ratings. And then number 8, select all of the text. That's Command A, and center it vertically on the page. If you need to look back on how to center something vertically, please do so from that assignment where we did it.